Call this a story of redemption. I wasn't exactly a fan of the Ford Territory when it first came to the Philippine market, but now Ford has done their homework. They've extensively changed it around and modified, and here we have the first ever Ford Territory hybrid. I'm Yuliang, this is CarGuide.PH, and we'll take our first look at this new compact SUV from the Blue Oval. Let's start with the most transformative aspect, and that's the powertrain. For this update, Ford is dropping the 1.5-liter EcoBoost and replacing it is an electrified 1.5-liter motor. In this case, it's a series parallel strong hybrid. We're actually the first market to receive this powertrain. There is no plug whatsoever. It's a self-charging hybrid. The engine itself outputs 150 PS, while the electric motor makes a healthy 218. Ford still doesn't have the combined totals, but let's just say if it's just an electric motor alone, that's a pretty strong number. In terms of torque, the gas engine alone makes 230 Newton meters of torque, while the electric motor actually has a more powerful 315 Newton meters. In terms of acceleration, it's been vastly improved. 0 to 100 comes in 8.5 seconds. That's about a 2-second improvement from the previous Territory. So it's like you're having your cake and eating it too. Fans of the DCT will be happy to know that it's now gone, and replacing it is a 2-speed dedicated hybrid transmission. It's a very complex operation on how it works, but the most important aspect is that there are no drive modes to select and nothing to fiddle with. The car does the heavy lifting for you. Ford still hasn't released the fuel economy figures because it's still undergoing homologation, but believe me, this kind of hybrid setup will produce very good figures, and because it doesn't need to have any plug, it is built for the Philippines infrastructure. Again, a self-charging hybrid means being able to power that 1.83 kilowatt lithium-ion battery, one of the biggest in its class, to produce stellar fuel economy figures. I'm guessing we'll get around more than 20 kilometers per liter easy on the Territory this time around. Now that we have the powertrain out of the way, let's talk about the design. The Territory has always been a compact SUV that looks electrified from the get-go, and thankfully, Ford has actually leveled up on that design even more with this update. The entire front end, as you can see, has changed. New headlights, new bumpers, a better looking grille right here, all for better safety. Now the badge right here is lit, and this is an optional extra for those of you who would purchase this vehicle at the launch. But what is standard, at least for the Titanium X, the top of the line model, is what they call this coast-to-coast LED lighting. So this would make it even look more impressive at night. Imagine that, having a lit blue oval as well as the coast-to-coast lighting. Now towards the side, the Territory hybrid gets 19-inch alloy wheels for the Titanium X variant, while 18-inch wheels for the entry-level Trend variant. Remember, there are two variants again, and both of them are electrified. Aside from that, the other detailed changes would include things that you see at the back. Now, towards the back, you would notice that Ford barely touched the design, and that's for good reason, because I would have to say this is one of the best angles for the Territory. For this update, however, you do get new LED taillights. Surprisingly, even if it is electrified, there is no change to the trunk space. It is the same spacious trunk that you get before, and get this, you actually get a physical spare tire. It's a temporary spare, granted, but it is much better than having one of those air inflators and sealants. So again, less problems if you're gonna plan to take this car on a long drive. Working our way to the front, let's settle first to the back seats. As you would notice, there's a lot of space right here. There is no center hump, so that means ample space or generous space for 3 people. Rear AC vents, Type-C chargers, adjustable seat backs, and interestingly, for the color scheme, that the Titanium X gets this colorful accent, the green accent right here, with the white and black leather seats. Now, if you're not a fan of this sort of loud color scheme, the trend sticks with the more traditional all-black scheme. Now, as the top-of-the-line model, the Titanium X also gets this gigantic panoramic sunroof, as well as other features, which most of them actually end up at the front seats. Now that we're here at the front seats, you can see where Ford put most of their attention for the Territory Hybrids update. That starts with things you actually don't see. You still do get the twin 12-inch gauge cluster right here, but they've changed everything. The interface, the chips, the Bluetooth chips, the Wi-Fi chips, the processor, everything. It makes the infotainment experience much faster, snappier, more responsive, and if you are a bit OC, you do get the Ford font across everywhere. It's all right here, so it looks like a proper member of the Ford family. That aside, one of the big changes that they did, and they're pretty proud of it, is the way the infotainment display makes the climate control a permanent fixture right here at the bottom. So that means if you're doing Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, there's no need for you to go back to the main menu to look for the ways to change the setting of your vented seats or your dual zone climate control. It's always there. So that's one of the more thoughtful features that they've integrated. That aside, you also get faster charging USB ports. The USB Type-C ports are actually capable of juicing up to 66 watts. That's enough to power a laptop or your iPhone very quickly. There's also a wireless charger right here, at least for the Titanium X. Towards the center, you still get the rotary shift knob found in the previous Territory. What I like is Ford put stops towards both ends, so you know exactly which gear you're in. It's not an endless moving of the counterclockwise or clockwise, anything that you want to put it in park, it ends at park. You want to put it in drive, it ends at drive. So there's a lot better tactile feel to the operation of this vehicle. That aside, there's also the storage right here in the middle, a deep center console right here, and get this, there's a slidable console right here as well to put your mobile phones if you don't want to put it on the wireless charger. And of course, the seats. Now, a lot of people will probably forget to mention this, but Ford has actually changed the seats in here as well. Aside from giving better support with the new construction, the headrests actually have a different orientation. Instead of being vertically oriented, it's now wider and more horizontally oriented, making it more comfortable, especially for long drives and those of you with passenger princesses. Now, I was able to test drive the Territory Hybrid, but only for a short time. So it's not enough to give you a thorough analysis of what's changed or what's different, but first impressions count, and I would have to say I give it my thumbs up. Ford has extensively changed it from when it was an ICE variant to it becoming an electrified vehicle. For example, they changed the front suspension, they changed the steering system, they even put in acoustic glass. So it makes the Territory Hybrid much more comfortable, much more refined than ever before. Now, what's amazing is that it uses software to make the car even more comfortable on the road. One of the more impressive features that they've integrated is a feature called comfort braking. If you have a driver who's kind of like a lead foot when it comes to applying the brakes, well, you're in luck, because comfort braking is able to mitigate all that brake dive that happens when you are too aggressive with the brake pedal without changing or altering your braking distance. That aside, you also get changeable drive modes where the steering is actually integrated. So if you put it on sport mode, there's a sport mode to the steering wheel. Another aspect where Ford has changed the Territory this time around is in the area of safety. The chips that they've put in are not just limited to the infotainment, but they've actually changed the camera and the chips in its safety systems as well. Because of that, there is now a greater range to the operation of the adaptive cruise control. And right now, there's a lot more hands-free operation in the sense that there's now a lane centering assist system. That means there's no need for you to ping-pong your way whenever you're driving on the highway with the system on. The car actually keeps you centered on the lane, and it actually acts quite naturally. It doesn't feel artificial at all. It's a bit eerie, yes, but for all of you who would drive the car on expressways, that will make it a lot more comfortable than ever before. Now let's get to the most important part. How much does all of this new Ford Territory set you back? Well, with the ICE version now biting the dust, the Territory Hybrid starts at a very competitive $1.399 million for the entry-level Trend variant. If you want to go for the full shebang, this variant right here, the Titanium X, it sets you back $1.599 million. And as a launch offer, it comes with all sorts of freebies, including a free 3-year service plan. That makes this car not just economical on the road with less fuel stops, but also easier on the pocket when it comes to maintenance. Ford has certainly taken the right steps towards electrification right here in the Philippines, and they've chosen a very competitive product segment to do it in. Remember, the Territory is competing in the compact crossover segment, and that's projected to be one of the biggest segments right here in the Philippines. We can't wait to take the Territory Hybrid out for a more thorough review, but we hope you enjoyed this quick look at this new offering from the Blue Oval. You can also check it out at any of the authorized Ford dealerships nationwide.